In the areas that we're trying to advertise in, they're in the more luxury neighborhoods of the markets that we serve. So 3 million, 5 million, 10 million, $2 million homes. And we've found a lot more success actually in those pockets. Just if we've tried calling them 6 times in the last 2 days, instead of dialing a 7th time, we're just going to go right to their house. We're going to have a generic CMA or some kind of a seller guide or booklet about what our team does, and we're just knocking on the door, right? And that way we were finding that, okay, it's actually, number one, we can see if they're just dodging us, or chances are they're probably not dodging us. They're just busy with life like most people are these days, right? Like I think the biggest thing is us realizing no one is deliberately, most of the time anyways, no one's deliberately trying to ignore us, right? They've got their lives going on, they've got their careers, their families, their, activities that they're a part of, right? And so even if we call them 10 times and they answer on the 11th finally, I've never had someone say, oh, you've called way too many times, what the heck? It's like, oh, I'm so sorry, Nate, I've been seeing you call, I'm seeing the emails and texts, it's just been so busy. Thank you for actually following up, right? So the response that we're actually getting from people that, picked up after, whether it's weeks, days, or months after, and we continue to stay on top of it, the time they finally picked up, they're actually appreciative of it. They see the fact that we're doing what we can to try and get in touch with them. Well, hello, everyone's starting to roll into our session for today. Al, I see your face. How you doing, Al?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am fantastic. Another day, we're alive, can't complain.
You're right.
Things off here. Was there anything specific that everybody wanted to chat through today? What are we seeing? What's working for us? What do we need some help with? And I think it's a great time for us to be able to serve each other and share some insights and talk through what we're all going through here in this day and age right now. How's everyone doing this year so far?
I'm fairly new to the platform myself, so I'm just getting my feet wet. I have about 12 to 15 leads coming in, and honestly, I'm still trying to figure out the platform itself, the different stages, how it functions, because there's a lot to it, and trying to look through the videos and through the coaching, and so I'm any information that's helpful is good for where I'm currently at. Currently awesome. 22 transactions for the year, so I'm doing pretty well. I just trying to level up a little bit, but it's a lot to going on at one time.
It really is, right? And you're drinking the water hose, so to speak. And I mean, is this your first time with online leads in particular, or you've dabbled in a few other platforms in the past, and now you're trying out Mescula?
Yeah, dabbled a little bit of it. Wasn't too successful. Seemed like a lot of stuff was either had already been touched by somebody else, or which you get a lot, and that kind of makes it you're more of a problem for someone by them than you are doing solutions. You're not helping them because they've had to hit them up already. So that kind of runs its course real fast.
Yeah, definitely stay. Okay, we can chat through that definitely. So some online leads and just how to maximize I guess WAR getting and the lead flow that you're having just to help increase conversions. Or was there anything specific within the Mescula platform or just online leads in general that you think would be valuable for us to chat through today, Brian?
For me, just the general process. I feel like I have these leads coming in. I'm trying to gauge where the AI is interacting and where we're interacting, and where's the point to jump in or out. If it's something that came, like I had something come overnight, they didn't answer in the morning, afternoon. So now I'm trying to find out what timeline this other stuff is happening to where do I fit into this, So that's kind of where I'm at.
Yep. Okay. I've got that written down here just so I can refer back to that. Awesome. Al, was there anything specific that you wanted to cover today or just even wanted to touch on?
I'm pretty much in the same boat as I am a day into Mescula. I can't even pronounce it right. But I'm just, it's for me, it's a little overwhelming. I am trying to figure out everything, but I'm getting in there. I'm starting to watch the videos and just trying to be open-minded and just dig in.
Wow. So it's been 24 hours for you, maybe less.
Yes.
Okay. Love it. Love it. Love it. Got that down here. And Mitch, what about you, brother? Anything that you wanted to touch on in particular today?
No, I just, I enjoy the sessions here. I've probably been with Mescula just a touch over a month. And my take
You're a veteran.
Excuse me?
You're a veteran.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I think the leads are great. They're better than a lot of the ones that I've been getting. 25 years I've dealt with buyers, and now I'm moving into the listing part.
Amazing.
I get them, I call them. I figure
Yeah.
something out
That's the
between
name
me
of
and the AI, but
Right.
Yeah.
I just don't think about that. I think once you start, and I'm not telling you guys how to do it because you're actually telling me, but I just don't get wrapped up. If they think I'm Ashley, that's great.
Yeah.
Until I'm Mitch. I think the
Yeah.
key is
No,
just getting in touch with them. That's kind of
Mhm.
always the challenge is, they send you all this information and then it's crickets for a while. And I always wonder, why did you go through the whole thing and give me a fake phone number? But hey,
Right.
it's all part of the deal. So, but I
Yeah.
appreciate everything.
Mitch,
Amazing.
are you leaving a detailed message when you get a no answer? No?
No, there's actually Mascula has a voicemail script. It's about
Oh, do they?
Yeah, it's about 1 minute long. I just follow that. I think that's one of the best things I can leave. It talks about, I just received a valuation request online and I have some additional information. Please call me and as soon as you can. Bingo.
Yeah.
Right.
No, this is all good. At least, I'm getting a sense for where you are at, all of you, in terms of using the platform so we can, talk more in depth about that and how to maximize the leads that we are seeing flow through. And just for my own context as well and knowledge. So before or outside of online leads, what's the predominant source that you guys get your deals from currently? Is it Sphere, database, past clients, farming? Just so I can see where, we can draw some parallels if there are any. Brian, Al, what's
A lot of
the
mine is
predominant couple of
probably
sources?
85% of mine is past clients. My
Good.
Sphere, I did a lot of business back in the REO days, back when
Yep.
everything was crashed around. So I kept in contact with a lot of them. And I've had generational business through that aspect. And then I also
Yep.
do a corporate relocation for Century 21. So I move people all over the country. So that's kind of like another niche. Like I said, my goal is kind of trying to level up a little bit, getting more into listings.
Yeah.
I like buyers, but listings tend to drive the boat a little bit straighter than less swells.
Yeah. Listings really are, again, it's highest leverage, right, type of transaction that we can be doing. And, even though, in this market, it might be easier to complete a buyer transaction, listings are always the name of the game. And it's always going to be the way to be the most sustainable, in our business, in our industry here. But yeah, it does take a bit of, adjusting and pivoting depending on, the sources that we're coming from here, right? Al, what about you? Mainly database and past clients as well, or combination of different sources?
Yeah, I've been in the business for 18 years. And Brian, I was going to ask you how long you've been in the business?
Just over 19 years.
Oh, okay. So we're all in the same, I think
Yeah.
Mitch wins, but
Well, he is the veteran here.
but
He is.
yeah, and I'm in a BNI networking group. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that.
Yeah.
But I've been in for about 16 years. I don't get a ton of deals every year, but I get a few. And that has helped. And as far as other sources, it's my database and keeping in contact with people and, trying to do what Brian Buffini was doing and,
Okay.
just popping by and writing some notes. And there's times where I'm real good about it, and then times that I slack and then think about it and how things are going. I like to review often as to what I'm doing and how I'm getting there.
Love it. Love it. Love it. And it's expected, once you've been doing this for 18 years, like the both of you, right? A majority is going to come from your database naturally, right? And again, there's going to be a lot of different programs like the Brian Buffini's of the world where how do we maximize in the nurturing, in the staying in touch, to make sure that we're still staying top of mind, right, with someone that we did a deal with 15 years ago, maybe, right, or 10 years ago. Mitch, you're 25 years in. I'm going to guess it's probably a bulk of it coming from database, but you tell me.
Well, it's interesting. In the beginning it was, and then, and I've been with the Buffini program for probably 15 years. Probably haven't done as much as I should, but to answer your question, most of my stuff now comes from online. I get the online leads. Yeah. I don't know. You familiar with Redfin? I've been with Redfin for probably 13 years, but their leads are just online leads too. So
interesting.
Rich, is that pretty much like does?
Yeah, it's the same thing, just probably a better lead when you get it. But they got bought out by Rocket Mortgage, so I can see Redfin's going to change on some stuff. But yeah, so I'm into the online stuff.
So when you say the majority, are we talking 80, 90% of the deals you did in the last 12 months would have come from these online sources?
Absolutely. Now that I'm kind of going into the listing side, and the reason it changed real quick is because, buyers just become expensive in time.
Yes.
In time. Yes. And, you wake up one day and you figure, hey, why haven't I made this switch 10 years ago? So
yeah,
I guess you're ready when you're ready. So that's why I've made the switch. Is just a time I can do more in less time.
And that's it, right? That's the key there. It's the leverage piece, right? We can't show three buyers at the same time, right? Like, and so again, getting to a point where you can level it out or try and offset that by having a bit more on the listing side of things. Yes, you're going to be able to buy back a bit more of that time. But I guess, we can definitely focus on, because it sounds like, the online lead space, is number one, an area that we all want to get to where Mitch is at, where he's getting 90% of his business from the online leads. But, there is definitely a very significant difference in the conversion rate with online versus someone in your database or a referral from your database, right? Like, I'm sure Brian, Al, you guys can both attest to that, right? Someone that comes in as a referral, you already know that someone's vouched for you. Chances are you're probably not going to have to try dialing them 12 times before they answer the call the first time, right? With online leads specifically, regardless of what platform they're coming through, well, we've found, over the years in dabbling in a few different ones, and we found this school was definitely one of the best quality that we've chosen to stick to, because one of the guys on our team has been with Miss School now for, I want to say 3 years, if not a little bit over 3 years. And he does approximately 5 to 10 per year from the school alone. So it's not 80% of his business just yet, but it's definitely, it's growing every single year more. And he's definitely getting the ROI, by even doing 2 deals from the school of leads. And really, online leads in general is, you got to realize that they probably stumbled upon us, while they were in the evening, winding down for bed, maybe getting ready to put the kids to bed, or they're finishing up dinner and they're just scrolling and browsing on Instagram and Facebook, and they see this prompt. It's like, oh, what's my home worth? So we got to keep in mind that chances are they weren't in a position sitting down, looking and browsing online for, okay, what is my home worth today? We probably interrupted whatever it is that they were doing, just the way that these ads are structured. So we have to realize that this is not someone that has deliberately sought us out to look for a home evaluation, because these ads pop up on their feed when they're just browsing the social media platforms, right? So that's one thing to keep in mind, because that now tells us that our approach in trying to get them to on the phone even needs to be very different, because again, they weren't looking for us to begin with, if that makes sense, right? So I'm not sure if you guys have a certain number of attempts that you try and have dialing a new lead that comes in before you take a break or you wait until next week, right? But the general rule of thumb is you want to be dialing a minimum of 8 to 10 times within the first couple of days of the lead coming through, right? I don't know if is that something that you guys are currently trying to do, or is that something that you guys have heard, but that's something that I know has helped us, like even if it's 3 dials in a row, right? Because sometimes the third one is where they pick up, and to just know that, okay, it's not us harassing them, right? It's just, you don't know where they may have been in the time of, of them coming in as an online lead, right? So, I mean, I don't know if Mitch,
you want 8 to 10 before they pick up.
Correct. So if a lead is not answering, we continue dialing until we get to the 8 to 10 or until they answer. Yes.
Okay. And Nate, you're out in the field, correct?
Correct. Yes.
You're doing this full time. So
full time. Yeah. This is not yeah.
Right. So how is your business structured? What are you doing? And how much of it is Muscula?
Yeah. So for me, I've been with Muscula now for, I want to say 6 months or 7 months, give or take. And in that time frame, I have not a bulk has come from the online leads. To be totally transparent with you guys, totally honest, I'm still trying to figure out the online lead space because a lot of my business is from database and from referral. But I've done 3 transactions this year from Muscula specifically. All were listings. So yeah, I mean, it definitely makes up less than 15% of my business currently, where it stands. So yeah, definitely haven't mastered it yet from a standpoint for Muscula and leads, but that's something that we're all trying to work on here right now. Even with David and Jake, like it still makes up a small portion of our overall business, but we realize that we need to have different lead pillars and different lead sources, right, to help kind of balance out our overall businesses as well, right? Yeah, so I'd say just under 15% for me, of my business year to date as the online platform. Yeah. Mitch, what are your thoughts? You've been doing this, or you've been having much more success with online leads. I know it was mainly buyers at first, and now you're shifting to the seller side of things. But have you seen a difference in the way that you're approaching them? Have you had to pivot because it's seller leads now as opposed to buyer leads?
No, but what I see the difference is when I was working with buyers, I don't have to call them as much. Usually when I get the buyer lead, I'm meeting them somewhere. They already have a house picked out and we're meeting. It used to be when I first started, we would meet in an office. But then as the years go by, there's no sense of meeting in an office and going to a house. I just meet them at a house. But they're ready to see something. What I'm in my transition to sellers is like what you say. I need to call them. I need to keep talking to them because, they're going to meet a friend a week later and say, hey, I'm ready. And he's going to say, I got an agent, something like that. But also, Muscula is great. If I could get 2 to 6 closings a year, that'd be a great start. But I've also, I've got other leads, like I'm working divorce leads with a company. I'm doing farming. And I have another where I'm getting leads, listing leads, just completely different. It's like no training. Here's your lead. Pay me $50. This is where Muscula wins. I'm telling you, it's the training and just if I could tell people how you don't need 100 hours of training, you need 10 good hours. And that's what you get, plus the leads, plus people like yourself. I only say that because when I wrote up something on Google in the 25 years and all the marketing I've done, this is the best one for the agent. You guys are the best one that works with the agent to make it successful and actually does it. But it's not a miracle. It's like a miracle drug. It's to get things going. And I'm sure in 5 years from now, I'll be doing a lot more closings. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I hear you there. Right. It's right. You found it's taking a bit more attempts, I guess, to even get these seller leads to onto you, right? Yeah. That's it. And I mean, I see Lori put a question here in the chat. I apologize. I just saw it right now here, Lori. But yeah, her question here was, what's your secret to getting leads to answer calls, texts, and emails? And this I find, especially with online leads, again, you might have to try a couple more times than you would a referral or someone that you met at an open house, right? Because you're remembering where they came from and how they got into our funnel, so to speak, right? Again, they probably weren't searching us up, right? They probably clicked on a few other ads that were offering them a home valuation. So what are we doing as the agent on the other side to try and actually grab their attention, number one, with our approach, and number two, how do we keep them engaged when we finally get them on the phone, right? So those are some of the immediate things that come to mind. But in terms of increasing the chances of us getting in touch with them, obviously dials is number one. Number two, I'm not sure how many folks here are door knocking them as well. That's something that our team has been very deliberate with especially if it's on the higher price point type of listings, because we're in the areas that we're trying to advertise in, they're in the more luxury neighborhoods of the markets that we serve. So 3 million, 5 million, 10 million, $2 million homes. And we've found a lot more success actually in those pockets. Just if we've tried calling them 6 times in the last 2 days, instead of dialing a seventh time, we're just going to go right to their house. We're going to have a generic CMA or some kind of a seller guide or booklet about what our team does. And we're just knocking on the door. Right. And that way we were finding that, okay, it's actually number one, we can see if they're just dodging us, or chances are they're dodging us. They're just busy with life like most people are these days, right? Like I think the biggest thing is us realizing no one is deliberately, most of the time anyways, no one's deliberately trying to ignore us, right? They've got their lives going on. They've got their careers, their families, their, activities that they're a part of, right? And so even if we call them 10 times, and they answer on the 11th finally, I've never had someone say, "Oh, you've called way too many times. What the heck?" It's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, Nate. I've been seeing you call. I'm seeing the emails and texts. It's just been so busy. Thank you for actually following up." Right. So the response that we're actually getting from people that, picked up after, whether it's weeks, days, or months after, and we continue to stay on top of it, by the time they finally picked up, they're actually appreciative of it. They see the fact that we're doing what we can to try and get in touch with them, and they actually haven't been reacting in a way that's, okay, you're a telemarketer and you and me. We have yet to come across that, right? And no different than when we try and knock on their door as well. After a couple attempts, we have yet to come. And when I say we, there's 5 of us on our team that are all on the Schoola platform. Yeah, no one has told us to F off, right? When we knock on their door after, them requesting a home evaluation from us, right? So those are some ways, like Lori, I know you were asking about how to get in touch with them, but if you've already tried calling 8 to 10 times, still nothing, I would encourage you to try knocking on their door even. Angela, I see your hand up there. Thank you for jumping in and for turning the camera on. What's going on your side there?
Well, I'm new to the program, so just getting started here. I did have a call because we have a large the area where I'm at is largely a second home area. So a lot of people are out of town, and I have been getting not directly from Miss Schoola, but I know it will happen. There's a lot of people that aren't here most of the year. They're only here for during winter months, 3-4 months out of the year. So what do you suggest? Because how do you, if they're not responding, then to go out to the property is not going to make a difference because they're not going to be there. So do you just mail them something? What would you do?
Yeah, fantastic. And thanks the context and the lay of the land. Where are you based, or where is this market that you're referring to, Angela?
In Naples, Florida.
In Naples. God. Okay. Yes. Totally see what it's. Yeah. Second home type of area and market for sure. Right. What I would say is this. So if, again, you've already attempted to dial many times, you're texting, you're emailing, and still nothing from them, I would try. And if it's not feasible for you to go out there, and try and knock on their door because either they're not there or, other reasons, try sending them a bomb video or a video chat of some sort, whether it's email or even through text, but outside of that, if you're calling, you're texting, you're emailing, right, there's not very many other avenues left to try and reach them outside of doing the same things, right? And if not, then you can just have them on your I don't know if you do a monthly newsletter or a biweekly newsletter via email, but you can just kind of add them to your drip campaign there as well. But at the same time, I think it comes down to as well, if it's a certain, I don't know if you try and get down into the luxury market, if that's your focus, I'm not sure, Angela, or not. But if this is a potential seller and you know that this house is probably worth, I don't know, what would be like an attractive luxury listing for you? What price point, Angela?
That's anything above $1 million, but there are quite a few books here.
Yeah. So like you can see online that this house is probably a $2 million house or a $5 million house. That's probably going to be a lead that you might want to be a bit more intentional with in staying and trying to get a hold of versus maybe a $4,000 condo, perhaps. Right. So there's really no limit to, okay, after 3 months, I'm going to call them again, right? Or, you know what, I've tried 15 times. I'm no longer going to try calling. I think you as the agent or you as the business owner just needs to make, the executive decision to see how I want this potential lead or this potential seller, depending on what that kind of transaction could look like, right? Yeah, because if you've already attempted, every other avenue that you could think of, then it's just really up to you to decide, do I want to keep chasing this lead in particular? Does it make sense, for me or not? Does that make sense?
Would you mail something to their home address besides the local address?
Oh, like if you have their home address, so not the one that they're trying to sell or not
Right,
that lead.
right.
Yeah, I mean, if you have access to it, absolutely. Like if you can pull up and see where their primary residence would totally do that. That's a great
Mm,
idea. Yeah.
right. Okay.
Like personally, that's a good idea, I think. Because are you
But what
finding that are they in state or out of state if they have a home in
state?
Naples?
Yeah.
Out of state.
Yeah,
Okay.
a lot of them are out of state. I mean, not everyone, obviously, but a lot of
Yeah.
them, I know that I'm gonna have it because I've had it in the past with other lead sources. So, okay, all right. And what would you mail though? Like a generic, like RPR or something like that.
Yeah, I would say something generic. Yeah, whether it's an RPR or some sort, right, that you could mail them, and you can even have a little letter at the start just to let them know it's like I've been, having a hard time getting a hold of you. I thought I would just send this over, right, and see if you guys were still interested in knowing what your property in Naples, is worth, right?
All right. Okay. All right. Thanks.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Mihir, thanks for being here, Mihir. I see you're based out of Atlanta. Or it looks like you might be on the phone right now. I see your lips moving, so not sure if you're tuning in right now.
Got a quick question for you.
Yeah, Brian, what's going on?
At what point are you advising to, or even if you're not advising, I mean, I know we're trying to get everybody on the phone and trying to get appointments, but they're coming in asking for the valuations. At what point
Yeah.
are we either giving or not giving them this, or are we wanting a commitment first? I'm kind of, like I said, I'm still trying to work through the whole process, but where are we at with that?
Yeah, great question. So at what point do you cave in to just give them the report or the value? Essentially, is that what you're saying or asking me?
I'm just kind of saying,
Fantastic.
I know they're asking, some people are going to take that as I'm never going to get it, or some people are going to say that they're wanting something. I don't know. I'm just trying to see what's been the productive way of doing it. Let's say, I mean, because the way I do it is I've dropped stuff off at people's houses before, had very good conversations to this program, and just because I've had somebody and it worked out well. I kind of think the premise here is we're not going to give them what they want until they give us what we want, or is that not the case? I'm just trying to figure it out.
Yeah, and that's great. And we have tried ways in handling those. And I think at the end of the day, so if you had a good conversation with them, on the phone, but they're just not ready at any point for whatever reason to either sit down with you to do a proper listing consultation or to do a proper, appointment of any sort, but they just want to know what the home is worth. I think if you still had a good conversation with them, I would shoot them over that report. Mind you, it's going to be more generic because you haven't seen the house and you haven't had a chance to actually walk through. So I normally lead off by just saying, happy to still send you a report. Again, it'll be generic because I haven't come to see the place, to walk through it and get a better idea from you. So it'll just be a very generic price based on your neighborhood. And if at any point down the line, you want to know, okay, what are we talking dollars and cents? Then at that point, we can definitely set a time for me to pop by and we can do that. Right. So just like you were sharing earlier, Brian, with, you've had success in just bringing that report to their door, dropping it off. That's what we're doing when we're doing the door knock for someone that doesn't answer even. Right. Yeah. So we're still bringing it off there, trying to door knock and trying to get them at the door. Even if we had a good conversation on the phone, but they're just not ready because maybe it's a couple of years out, we're still going and dropping off that CMA and that report to them, almost like a thank you card, if you will, after having a good dialogue with us on the phone. Because again, the game here and the strategy here is as an online lead, they're probably receiving 5, 10, 15 calls from other agents already as well, right? So what can we do to differentiate ourselves and to stand out and to try and be the one that actually sticks, in their memory when they are thinking 3 years down the line or 2 years down the line? So I would say yeah, like we've definitely sent it off right after the first, sometimes if it's digitally or in person, if we feel like, okay, we had a better dialogue with this potential lead, we're dropping that package off in person, right? But I would say like, because there's different philosophies to it, right? You got the ones where I'm do anything until you give me a bit of, a bit of something in return or some kind of you. But we've just realized, especially with online leads, like let's face it, they're treating us like a commodity when it's coming from an online platform. It's just the reality of it because they can probably find 3 or 4 other ads that are offering the same quote unquote service that we're trying to offer them here right now. So I think it's totally okay, my opinion anyways, to send them something that's generic, even if they weren't ready to commit to sitting down with in person. That's obviously the goal, to sit down with them. But if it just doesn't make sense or the timeline's too far out, I think it's totally okay to still send them that generic report, with the caveat that, again, when you're ready to find out what it's really worth, then hey, we can definitely sit down and talk about that as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, no worries. Hopefully that was helpful. I see. Okay, Jesse Erickson, you popped something here into the chat. Okay, Muscula really does not like this. 99% of my contacts, that's all they ever wanted. And even then, at what point is it okay to give a value range? After 10 calls, not upfront, for sure. Okay, just keep that in mind. In 5 months, 80 leads. So conversion numbers are not there. Okay. Okay. So Jesse, if I'm hearing you correctly, so the question here is, at what point is it okay to give the value range?
Yeah.
We
For
were,
instance, like right
yeah,
after, your first phone call, your second phone call, do you have, after they said, I don't want to meet with you? Because all mine, they all say, I'm not interested in selling. They say that. All mine
yeah.
say
I just
1 to
want to
2
know.
years. So, but I'm in a buyer's market and I'm totally different from everybody else. My market's been like that all year, but I kind of feel like a failure to Muscula. But my market is totally unique. It's different. It's people don't use Facebook and Instagram where I'm at, and if you or you do, you're not. How do I want to say this? Up with everybody else. You're kind of a loser if you use those platforms.
Oh, interesting. And where are you based out of, Jesse, for context?
I'm in the Central Valley, so people that will drive 3 hours to the Bay Area in San Jose to get a job, but they want to hold on to their property values and they want to argue with their values being way higher than when they really are, because we're overloaded with new construction. So new construction is way cheaper than an existing home. My market is totally out of whack, but just from logistical standpoint, my question's still the same. At what point do you say, hey, you know what, I could give you a value range, but then, someone will play back my call or somebody will look at my call and say, well, he didn't really go down this rabbit hole right, or he didn't do this right. So now you're playing the shotgun approach. But at the end of the day, most of mine, that's all they want. They just want to, I saw your ad, just curious what my home is worth. I'm not selling. So it kind of throws a wrench into everything you've said. At least for me, anyways.
Yeah. And my philosophy when it comes to that. So like, again, if you know the questions to ask any seller lead, right? To try and qualify, see if it makes sense for you to persistently follow up with them every week, every month, depending on their timelines, right? Like you know what to do to qualify any seller lead in particular, right? So I want to preface it by starting with that, saying that I'm sure you know what you're doing when you're qualifying any seller lead. Right?
Yes,
I say that because
Lori brought this up earlier this week. She said, at what point are you running these people off? Because you keep calling them, you keep emailing them, you keep sending them text messages. And then if you're not giving them the valuation that they're asking, they hold a grudge. And now you're so what I'm doing is I'm affecting my short-term and my long-term people that said, oh, you know what, I don't really want to sell now, but you're kind of banking on them for a lead in the future. So, and now you're kind of sabotaging that. And that was one of the things that Lori brought up earlier this week.
Yeah, no, and that's a great point. Like for me personally, and again, everyone's going to have their preference, but what our team does, so Jake, David, Vilo, myself, Brandon, even if they're just refusing to meet and they aren't willing to any kind of commitment, we're still sending them that report. And even if we've only, let's say we finally got them on the phone after 10 attempts or 8 attempts and they just don't want to meet, or they just want to know what the home is worth, we just give it to them, right? If we know that we've asked all the right questions, and they truly are a couple of years out, they're not ready to transact in the next 3 to 6 to 12 months, then we know that, okay, we've done what we could. We've asked the right questions already. And at the end of the day, our job is not to convince someone that it's a time to move, right? So we're just going to give them the value that they were asking for, which was the report to begin with, right? After knowing that we have attempted to try and set up the appointment, qualify them the right way. And if it doesn't line up, that's okay. We're just going to send them that generic report, of course.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. I would say that just because, again, you also want to know you should be continuing to focus your energy on calling them every month or every other month, right? And if they're just going to be a total dick about it and they don't want to do anything with you, then maybe you aren't going to nurture them, right? But if you did have a good conversation and they really just are too far out from a timeline perspective, I think it's totally okay to give them a generic report. Yeah, thanks for that question though, Jesse. Anybody else? Anybody feel different than that process to what we were just there? If someone they just want to know what their house is worth.
Oh, hey, how's it going, guys?
Hey, Ryan, how you doing?
Pretty good. Hey, quick question. I just noticed there's been comments on some of the ads. I was wondering, do you guys ever, and a lot of them are people just throwing out, throwaways and stuff. Probably not as much as it used to be, yada, yada, in response to what's your house worth. Question, do you guys ever go in and engage with those comments? I feel like I could possibly pull maybe a listing out of there, but I also don't want to, if you guys have seen evidence suggesting not to do so, I'd hear that. Should we engage? Should we not engage in the comments? What do you think?
That question. I don't know that I've had much dialogue around that with anybody about, should we engage, with these ads? I think it depends on what the comment is, of course, number one, right? And two, like, as long as our response isn't going to be overly snarky and we're not trying to come across as, you guys are stupid for writing this comment, right? Of course, you don't want that. But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure Muscula doesn't want us to engage in those comments. I think it depends on what the comment is. I think it depends on what the comment is, and obviously we know in our mind, like, what's our reason for commenting back on this? Is it just because our pride got shot? Are we just trying to prove a point? So I think there's also a little sense of what's our motivation for wanting to engage in this specific as well, right? Are we just trying to prove a point? We're trying to prove them wrong potentially, right? But if it's not, I don't think there's anything wrong with engaging with it, like best, with these comments, right? Because there's definitely some that are definitely out there, right? You see some of the notes that people put down in the right. So that's a good. I don't know if anyone any thoughts. Anyone here have ever engaged with those types of comments on your ads?
Any success from it?
I see here. There's somebody. Tessa had shared a link here to. It's in the Muscula how to engage or what to do engaging with negative comments. So if you want to save that, that'd be a good reference point. I don't think I've looked at that particular piece, but thank you, Tessa, for sharing that.
Thank you.
Right. Anybody else?
Just thank you, Tess. Well, it is true. If I may, Nate, respectfully here.
Yes.
Muscula does to engage with those bad comments on Facebook with the means of dissolving the bad blood per se, or just the whole idea of them thinking we're a scam, a fraud, or sort of I don't know, anything along the lines of that. Is deleting those comments though, because it does mess with the algorithms. Right. So if you guys know on Facebook, for example, when any advertisement on Facebook or just any platform at all, you guys will check videos. You guys will always see pictures or any advertisement. And if you guys check the comments, there will always be good. There will always be bad and weird comments. Is that good? Yes, it is, for the sake of algorithm and presence, market shares, right? Because there's an ad that is getting presses. The only thing we can do at that moment is just dissolve the situation by addressing the comment and letting them know how real you guys are. And so I think, there's a video in the university. Thank you, Tessa, for sharing that. The by Grigore goes over I guess the basics on that, on comments on Facebook on your ads. Thank you, Tessa, for that video. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you, Victor, for chiming in there and giving us the official stance. So I mean, Yeah, so you're essentially trying to do damage. We are engaging with those, right? It's not to add fuel to the fire. Awesome. Awesome. No, good. I mean, anybody else want to through what they're working for them, what they want some help with before we wrap up here shortly?
Quick question. I
Yes,
know that
Angela.
I know that on Friday, or there's a day where you go over calls that people have made. But I was wondering, do you have like role playing call? Maybe just kind of for those of us that I've been doing real estate for a long time, but I've never really done the calls on my own. So it's just mostly referral based. Once you're in the business for a long time, it's a lot of referrals and all that stuff. And I've done fairly well with that. But as far as this is new for me completely. So role playing, is that something that you guys do at all or no? For those of us that don't have the experience.
Victor, I'm not sure if you can chime in on that. Like, I'm not aware of any role-playing sessions within the Muscula community. Victor, you could correct me if I'm wrong. I don't want to speak out of line here. I'm not sure.
Yes, thank you for that, Nate. Angela, and everyone all across the room here. You guys are assigned to a CSM. Now, us as CSMs, we have our own system to work with for your account. So we have to manage that account. We do understand some of you guys already have some sort of experience and some of you guys don't. When it comes down to additional resources, if this is something, Angela, that you want to go ahead and dive in, I can, promise you and guarantee you that we can do this 1,000% with your one-on-one success coach.
There you go.
Thanks.
Awesome. Anyone else before we wrap things up here? And if not, Al, Brian, Mitch, Mahir, Angela, Victor, Jesse, Lori, Tessa, thanks everybody for chiming in, for giving your input, sharing what's working, what we can all work on. And I think the common theme and the common thread, in today's conversation was really trying to engage and get a hold of these leads, number one. And number two, if we're dialing them a whole bunch, texting a whole bunch, emailing a whole bunch and not getting a hold of them, what else can we be doing to try and get in front of these leads, right? And we've talked about potentially knocking on their door or dropping off a CMA or generic report for their home, right? If we've done all the weekend to try and, number one, get in touch with them, or number two, qualify them to try and push for the meeting, and it's totally okay to to try and pop by and give them that report if that we've done what we could on our end to try and move them along the process, right? So thanks everybody, really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys next time. Okay.